Australia, we're the envy of the world with our high standard of living and our magnificent lifestyle. But we often forget it was the hard work and the perseverance of the early pioneers, the early settlers, our ancestors, who laid the foundations for the great industries, agriculture, mining, tourism, that we all rely on. And as we sit in our comfortable lifestyles, we often forget the sheer courage, the valor, and the personal sacrifice of those early pioneers. So we thought, let's take some young Australians out of their comfort zone and bring them here for a taste of the pioneering spirit.
On Easter Sunday, 1883, the MacDonald brothers, William and Charlie, set out from Goulburn in New South Wales in search of their new home at the junction of the Margaret and Fitzroy rivers in the Kimberley region of West Australia. Their destination was a tree marked F136, which was where their brother Dan had got a lease of 100 square kilometres of land and where they would establish the first cattle station in the Kimberley. The incredibly harsh journey of some 5,600 kilometres took them 3 years, and the brothers lost their father, they lost half their cattle, and lost most of their horses along the way. But as pioneers did, they persevered and eventually made it to this very spot, the historic Fossil Downs Station. Their journey was the longest cattle drive in Australian history, and so famous is the station that in 1972 it hosted members of the royal family on their visit to the Northwest.
We wanted our young city slickers to experience Australia through the eyes of our earliest pioneers. So we brought them here to the historic and magnificent Fossil Downs Cattle Station, deep in the heart of the Kimberley, in the furthest corner of Western Australia, so that they could get an inkling of just how tough life really was for our original pioneers.
My name is Lauren. I'm from Perth by the beach. I would definitely describe myself as more of a city girl. I'm not 100% sure if I would have made a good pioneer, I'm going to be honest with you, but I'm very interested in learning about how they did live because I don't really know a lot about how they lived, how they established their society.
My name is Connor and I'm 20 years old. I grew up in Western Australia in the metropolitan area. Definitely a city slicker. I think the way I'd cope with a pioneering life would be difficult, especially someone that's been pulled out of the city like myself. When you're out in the bush, it's just you and the Outback.
My name is Hannah and I grew up in Melbourne in Victoria. I'm a little bit scared about some of the challenges that we might face on this trip. These harsh conditions out here are a little bit more remote than what I'm used to, so it's definitely going to be tough out here.
Hey, look at this. Here we are.
That's beautiful.
Hotel Kimberley, first class accommodation. Here we go. Let's get the gear. Come on, let's get into it. Who wants the comfy ensuite? Bag's the bit not near the crocodiles.
Oh yeah, not near the crocodiles for me.
Will you look at this?
So peaceful.
You know what we've forgotten?
Firewood maybe?
You got it. You got firewood. We've got to heat, we've got to cook, we've got to stay warm. Let's go for it. Great work, guys.
Do you think it'll be enough to get us started, Rowan?
I reckon. Yeah, we need some rocks, guys.
Not bad for a city slicker.
Oh, looking great. Hey, Hannah, have you got the dampers?
Getting there. We're going to add in now a little bit of this milk and vinegar mixed together. So I just need a little bit more water in this one. Are you good to grab me a little bit, please?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just a tiny bit in there.
This is the critical moment, Connor. If you blow this, we don't have dinner.
It's a very fine line.
So how do you cook it?
So what we're going to do is kind of make it into a little ball, roll it out, and then pop it on a stick. And we'll just kind of hold it over the embers of the fire and, yeah, cook it off.
That looks amazing. I'm so hungry. I tell you, rock pool, eat your heart out.
This is the true pioneering spirit right here.
How's it taste, Connor?
It's pretty good, Rowan. It's a little bit on the salty side.
How Lauren, Master Chef, what would it get?
Solid 6.
Oh! Mate, you're tucking into that. Looks pretty good. What is it?
Just some Kimberley kidney beans here.
Straight out of the can. That's the only way to eat these beans, isn't it? What you got?
I've actually got a little bit of creamed rice, but you know, I prefer a bit more variety. Why do they eat so much from cans?
Well, you tell me.
Well, I don't know. I'm assuming because it's, you know, easy to take around and it's, you know, non-perishable.
When you're out for months and months and months, droving, travelling, the pioneers, they couldn't do the, all the fancy cuisine. So it's out of the can you go. True story, guys. When they were making the homestead up there at Fossil Downs back in the 1930s, they had to make the bricks here on the river. They were doing this one day, the family, and suddenly, we're in the middle of nowhere here, and they're stacking all the bricks all along here to dry, when suddenly an aeroplane comes flying down across the river and drops a bloody note outside. And this note comes falling down and lands, and they go, what on earth is it? They pick this note up, and it says that further up, the river is rising really rapidly. So from 2:30 in the afternoon through to 8 o'clock the following morning, they, by hand, took the 10,000 bricks up this riverbank up here. They got them all out, and then the river came through, took all of this out, the whole thing, and they built the house with those bricks.
Wow.
So the moral of the story, I always say, when an aeroplane flies down overhead and drops you a note, read the note. Oh, wake up. Come on, guys, come on. Morning is here. Morning is here. We're not going to sit around all day. Come on, do you think William and Charlie McDonald got the luxury to lie in? Hey, guys, come on. We've got bricks to build. Connor, come on, how'd you sleep?
Oh, not so great, Rowan.
No.
Had a guts full with the mozzies.
Just the mozzies?
And the fear of snakes as well.
Well, it looks like one went straight through here.
I think there are definitely scary sides to being a pioneer. There's a lot out in the Australian bush that I would not want to face, We've seen some snakes already, seen some crocodiles this morning, so, there's definitely a few things that I wouldn't want to come across. You're really in the unknown, and I think that's definitely a scary element to it.
Come on, girls, let's get a move on. Come on, we've got a lot of work to do. Hey, how did you sleep, Hannah?
Terribly.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Why is
this
that?
mattress is not good. Have you seen how thin it is?
Do you think the pioneers got to worry about the thickness of the mattress?
Oh, probably not, but I'm used to nicer things. So.
How are you? Well, we're going to change that.
I think the thing I miss most about Creature Comforts from home would probably be easy access to a nice kitchen. You've got a nice fridge, easy to cook, easy to make your meals. I think camping makes it a little bit trickier.
Digging the bush toilet was probably one of the lower points of the trip. I don't think I'd be going to the toilet in the bush anytime soon. It's not my preferred choice of bathroom. I'd much prefer my nice white bathroom at home.
Today we're building bricks. Did I tell you?
What?
Yeah,
Bricks.
I mentioned 10,000 bricks last night? Oh. That wasn't by accident. Lauren, how did you sleep?
Terribly.
Fresh as a daisy, ready to go?
No,
Why not?
it was too hot.
Last night was like air conditioning. That is what the McDonald's and the early pioneers called air conditioning, sleeping under the stars. So, you ready to go? You ready for breakfast? You ready to work?
No, I want to go home. I don't think you'll find a point where Lauren gives up. I'm not ready to give up. That's not something that I like to do, so.
Home is 5,600 kilometres that way, by foot. This is your new home. No Instagram. The pioneers couldn't check their account and see what their friends were up to. This is home.
This is terrible.
You're going to need your strength for building bricks, so eat up. If the pioneers didn't eat enough, that was it. It was all over. When they got food, they wolfed it down. They wouldn't have been going one bean at a time. So wolf it down. Off you go. I'd like you guys to tell me where you're going to start building bricks.
Over there looks all right.
Yeah, maybe in that spot right over there.
And pioneers do not fail. So we're going to build these bricks, right? You ready? You convinced?
Not really. It is getting a bit hot out here.
It's only going to get hotter. So the way you make mud bricks from the river is you start off with the riverbank sediments and rocks and you put them into a wooden frame, and then alongside limestone, dust and gravel and water, you put it in layer by layer until you've filled the entire wooden frame. And then you wait for it to dry in the hot baking sun until you've got your mud brick.
So, you enjoy making bricks, guys?
Tough stuff.
Really good, really good. You got the recipe right. You added the right amount of water, Lauren. These ones have had a couple of days to bake in the casts. And let's tip them out and see how we go. Okay, so we've got 3 or 4 bricks we've done. We need 10,000 to build the house, but we won't worry about that now. They're no good down here in the riverbed. We've got to get them up to the house. So grab your bricks and let's head off.
How far do we have to carry them?
All the way, up the hill. Come on, Lauren, come on. You're doing well, Lauren. You're getting there. Only 9,997 more to go, guys, and we'll be right. There we go. The McDonald's had to carry 10,000 of these before the river came. They worked from 2:30 in the afternoon right through until 8 o'clock the next morning, shifting 10,000 bricks, guys. And the hands were bleeding, broken fingernails, absolute nightmare, but they had to do it, no choice.
The worst moment for me was carrying the mud bricks. I couldn't actually get the mud brick off the ground. It wasn't quite strong enough. Probably should have lifted some weights before this trip, but trying to drag that across the dirt was quite hard.
And then we only did 3 of them, so imagine continuing to do them hour after hour until you've reached 10,000 bricks.
This part of the Kimberley, it's called Fossil Downs. The downs that we've walked through, downs go for millions of acres. That's the land, the black earth, the beautiful soil for the cattle, best cattle country in the world. But why is it called Fossil Downs? Those fossils are of crustaceans. This, you want climate change? You want rising sea levels? This was like the Great Barrier Reef 30 million years ago. You are standing on it. We were under the ocean here. 30 million years ago, this was beautiful coral, fishes, limestone ridge all there, Great Barrier Reef. It's called the Devonian Reef. Why is this important? Because it's the quality of the soil, the limestone, the minerals. This is what they came here for. But you can see here, little crustaceans from 30 million years ago are still there.
And the downs and fossil downs, that means treeless plains, doesn't it, Rowan?
You got it, and plenty of those out there. And the cattle love them. So the McDonald brothers travelled all the way from Goulburn. Took them 3 years to get here for this soil, for those downs. They'd read about them, they'd heard about them, they had to find them. Amazing story. But millions of years ago, this was the bottom of the ocean. Did you bring your snorkel, Lauren and Hannah?
They're one of the few things out here that don't bite, hey Rowan?
Today we saw a lot of crocs in the riverbeds, and let me tell you, so far they're the meanest animal we've come across. Just their piercing eyes when they look at you really send shivers down your back.
They're pretty scary. I haven't seen them in the wild before, so that's a big change. They're really hard to see, and I bet they'd be hard to catch.
I think the pioneers probably would have hunted kangaroo, maybe a bit of goanna, but I think it'd be a bit tricky to hunt these crocs. You know, they're dipping up and down, so it's a bit tricky to try and see them, but they look like they have a lot of meat on them, so they might be quite tasty.
I've actually had crocodile before. It tasted a bit like fishy chicken, kind of, salty chicken. It was kind of strange, but yeah, it wasn't half bad. They'd be a good meal if you managed to get one.
So girls, you told me you love your music. Well, this is a replica of the McDonald's original music box.
It's pretty impressive they brought it all the way over here, actually. You know, it's quite big and they got it from Goulburn to the Kimberley on horseback. It's impressive.
Must have loved their music.
Yeah, they must have, hey?
Yeah, what music did they actually listen to on it?
Queen. Not that Queen. God Save the Queen. That was the greatest hit back then. It inspired them, drove them forward, Connor, and it's going to have to inspire you because you've got to take it all the way back down again.
I would have preferred an iPhone, Rowan.
Nice one. Let's have a listen. God save the Queen. Look around you. It goes as far as the eye can see in every direction. Okay, the pioneers had the land, but you've got to contain the cattle, otherwise the cattle will wander off. And the only way they could contain the cattle is with fence lines. So they had to build the fences from the raw materials. We're not going to do all of that, don't worry, but we will dig one. First thing is the crowbar. You jiggle and wiggle to break up the ground. Jiggle and wiggle, that's it. You're doing well. Keep breaking up that ground. Just slam it down harder, that's it. Get your dirt there. It's got to be deep enough to take this post. Okay, work as a team. Bit more jiggle and wiggle to break up the dirt. That's it. Jiggle it down harder. This is in the middle of the day for days on end, months on end of this sort of work. All those fences you drive past you don't even think about, eh?
Yeah, it'd be hard trying to fence all this land around us. It'd be a really big job.
What do you reckon? How are you going?
Don't know about that, I'm sweating already.
I think it's amazing that they worked so hard in the heat, working day in, day out on horses, not having the type of hats that we have now or the type of coverage clothes that we have now. Like, it would have been really hard for them.
Pounding away on that earth, guys. Get it nice and solid. You don't want this thing to fall over. Okay, guys, let's see your work. Let's see your handiwork. And yes!
Hey.
Beauty. There you go.
Looks good.
First fence post, guys. Now, I've only got 1,200 more to do that way and 1,200 more to do that way. Cattle, aren't they fantastic? They are at the heart of our nation. They are at the heart of our agricultural industries, at the heart of our history and our national identity. And they are at the heart of Fossil Downs Station, the first cattle station here in the Kimberley, where they came 140 years ago. Nowadays, of course, we use helicopters, we use quads, we use motorbikes, but we still use horses, just like they did the McDonald's 140 years ago on this very spot. Aren't they fantastic?
I don't think it does occur to people that, you know, the wealth of the nation and a lot of the resources that we have today stem way back from when the pioneers were here, because people just aren't made aware or, you know, sort of don't recognise that connection.
That was quite a climb. You guys are looking a lot fitter than me, eh? That was great. Here we are, right at the heart of Fossil Downs. The fossils underneath us. You've got the downs stretching as far as the eye can see in every direction. Now, this is the original cattle station of the Kimberley. So it was the McDonalds, the brothers, William and Charlie, and their dad, who set out from Goulburn in 1883 on Easter. It took them 3 years to get here. No GPSs, they had to do it all. They were looking for one thing. They were looking for a tree labeled F136. It's out there somewhere. They knew it. They'd come on horses. You guys, today, you're on horses. You're going to be looking for that same tree.
I haven't done much horse riding, so we'll see how this goes.
What's the first thing that you would think of that you need when you're heading out on a 17-kilometre horse ride? What's the first thing you need?
Probably water, Rowan.
You got it.
Finding the water is really important out here because you need to stay hydrated. You're in the sun all day, especially if you're doing hard manual labour like building a fence. You really need to keep hydrated or you'll get really sick and you'll diminish fast.
You hear that? That's the black cockatoos. Now, Lauren, you're our self-appointed water collector. Did you know that it was the black cockatoos that would lead the early settlers and pioneers? They would follow them to find the water.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It is. So these are the original water tanks, the very ones that the McDonalds took all the way across Australia to get here. Those water tanks kept them alive. It's the critical thing you need for the pioneering mentality, for what they had to achieve. Now, Lauren, I want you to fill this up. I want you to drink the water over there.
That looks disgusting, Rowan.
So what are you going to do about it?
I think it'd be better if we fill it up over there where it's running and fresh.
Nice. I like you thinking like a pioneer now. Now, that's great. Stagnant water is poisonous. It will kill you. The fresh running water over there, let's fill it up, guys. There you go. Thank you.
Watch the spider in front of you.
Lauren, what do you think of the spider there?
I'm not a big fan of spiders, so scaring me a bit.
If you were a pioneer, you would brush that spider away with your hand.
It's so scary. I think I was genuinely scared of the spiders. I don't really know why I'm so scared of spiders, but they really freak me out, so that was quite hard standing so close to them.
Okay, guys, I've got a couple of treats here for you. You've worked hard, you deserve it. I've been saving this up specially. You know those boab trees we've seen going around? They absorb all the water. Tell you that you're in the Kimberley for sure. Well, these are the boab nuts.
Oh, and you can eat these?
You certainly can. A treat, a real treat. You've got to crack them open.
It's not the greatest.
Well, describe it. Describe the flavour.
It's kind of like sour and salty.
Connor, what do you reckon, mate?
For one of Mother Nature's treats, it's pretty nice.
Ah, good.
It's easier to eat than Hannah's damper the other night.
Oh, bit savage, Connor. He can source his own dinner tonight. That's it's off the cards now.
The truth's in the boab, I mean, you know.
Better than Hannah's dampers. That could be the motto of the show. There you go. Whoa, I think the horse gave the final verdict on the boab nuts. Good girl. Through here, come on. Through there. Straight ahead, come on. That's it, come on. You know, hang on, I think we've been here before.
Yeah, we might need to correct course a
Have
little
we
bit.
gone wrong? It must be over there, the tree, or is it over there?
Somewhere over that way, I think, if we kind of keep
You
heading
reckon?
this direction.
Now, this is the problem for the pioneers. You know, nowadays we could go to Google Maps or pull out our iPhone, but they had none of that stuff. Every tree looked the same. That's why they had a compass. Connor, did you bring the compass?
No, Rowan, but funnily enough, you can use your watch.
Ah, okay, talk us through it.
Yeah, so the best way to do that, Rowan, would be to point the watch face towards the sun. Where the sun shines between the 12 and the hour hand will be our north. So we want to head that way towards F136.
Okay. You know we've got to get there by sunset, otherwise I don't know what's going to happen to us. Let's keep it moving, guys. Come on, Zoe.
It all looks the same to me, Rowan. I think when we were navigating on the horses trying to find the F136 tree, that was a bit hard, especially since we didn't have any modern technology to guide us like we do now in our cars and stuff. I think we felt a bit lost at some points, but we did get there.
Here we are, guys, we've made it. This is the very spot where the tree F136 stood. This is the tree they found. So the McDonald brothers travelled for 3 years, 5,600 kilometres, right from Goulburn in New South Wales all the way up here to the Kimberley. And that wheel, that is the wheel from the cart that they dragged all that way for 3 years.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's from a bullock wagon, which I did hear was the first vehicle, the first four-wheel vehicle to cross from East Australia to West Australia.
Yeah, so they drove 700 cattle over And by the time they actually got to this point, they only had 327 left. And as for horses, they started out with 60 and ended up with 13.
And what about food, Lauren? What did they do with food?
Well, they actually ate a lot of hard biscuits, believe it or not. They carried them in big water tanks in their wagons, and they carried up to 6 months' supply at a time.
We had one night of dampers, and I'm still recovering. But 6 months of hard biscuits, I wonder what that would do to you. The entire cattle industry here in the Kimberley began there, that tree.
These brothers stitched our national history, but I didn't learn about them.
They should be national heroes, shouldn't they? Did you learn about them at school, Hannah?
No, sadly I didn't learn about them, and you know, I think that that's a really important part of our Western Australian history, so I think everybody should know.
What they did was to open up this land and begin the industries that we all rely on today. Great blokes.
My strongest impression of what life was like for the pioneers was that it was extremely tough. It was unbearable in certain parts, and every day was not without a struggle, and the hope of building something better for themselves out here was something that they'd chase after every single day. I think I will view these certain comfortable traits of my city life differently. I think I'll not just take the, ease of access to public transport, technology, health services for granted anymore.
I learnt that about myself that I was way more willing to give things a go. I definitely found a lot of things quite hard, not the strongest of people. I think that definitely gave me the lower hand, but I was willing to give everything a go, and I found that really surprising about myself.
I was definitely surprised by how hard some of the tasks were. I think the mud bricking was a tough one for me. Those bricks were really heavy. They're definitely to be commended for their efforts, and everything up here, just with that heat, it adds an extra element that just makes everything so much harder. So I definitely have a new appreciation and a new understanding for how tough life is out here.
The trip was enlightening, Rowan. It was something that I've never experienced before, coming out here in the Kimberley. And I think every Australian should be able to do it, If you don't know where you've come from, what your roots are, then how are we expected to carve out this better future and really understand the harsh reality that they faced in order for us to live a better life?
Well, it looks like our young Aussies, our city slickers, aren't quite so green anymore. We took them to the Outback, out of their comfort zone, here to Fossil Downs, the black soil plains that the McDonalds came to 140 years ago. Well, our young Aussie kids, they learned how to build fences, how to sleep under the stars, how to cook themselves damper, how to ride horses, how to muster cattle, how to find water. All the essences that made Australian pioneers so great. They did it themselves, our kids, with grit and determination, just like those pioneers. Look at this. They built Australia. It was the pioneers of the past, with their unrivaled courage and determination to stare down the insurmountable challenges of Australia's harshest environments. It was they who built the communities and created the industries that are so precious to us today. Like here in Broome, one of the world's most dramatic landscapes, the depths of the Indian Ocean just waiting to swallow those who dare challenge her for her riches. This is the story of a young man who conquered those challenges. Thomas Bastian Ellies, or TB to his mates, helped put Broome on the world map and create the Australian pearling industry.
Two days under sail, and the boats from Broome lie at anchor in the lee of the Lacepede Islands. In the first light of the third dawn, work begins on board. Once he gets into the suit in the morning, Adam will stay in it until sundown. The helmet is dunked in the sea to prevent condensation from the diver's breath. When it goes on, there is 4 fathoms pressure piping into it from the compressor. When the face glass goes in, the diver is on his own. Cut off from the things around him, he is about to enter a grotesque and inhuman world. The diver signals the tender with a shake on the line. The tender's hands never relax. They hold the diver's only communication with the outside world as he works in the darkness below, on the alert for attacks from whales and gropers, for coral formations that can cut his line to pieces. Still working as a team, the divers come up together and surface on either side of the lugger. On board, the divers move about as little as possible. On the run back for the next dip, they relax in the warmth of the deck and drink hot coffee to force the freezing chill out of their bones. And so, from March to December, the work goes on. 6 days of the week, from daylight to dark. For 9 months of the year, with the peaceful tides of autumn, winter and spring, the tiny luggers and the men who man them work on and fish the shell.
Well, here we are off Broome, these beautiful waters, this magnificent boat. This is the heart of the pearling industry that made Australia so wealthy and world famous for the best pearls in the world. And we're going to get a taste of what the pioneers went through to build the pearling industry in Australia. If you wanted the hardest, toughest thing to have to do, pearling was it. You've got diving, you've got to get out on the boat, the dangers, the jellyfish, sharks, crocodiles, you name it. There isn't a tougher environment to go to work, not only to stay alive, but to seek fortune and wealth, the biggest pearls in the oceans of the world right underneath us. Once you get out here, this is your life. You're at the end of the world, the harshest environment on the planet. Desert for thousands of miles, then ocean, and that is it. The boat keeps you safe, the lugger keeps you safe. You got to look after it because it looks after you. Let's get into it.
My name is Jamie Robbins and I'm 20. When I hear the word pioneer, I think of a life of struggle. I think of a life of hard work. I don't have very much experience living in the bush. I couldn't imagine myself in that situation that the early pioneers were in, where they had to build everything from scratch.
My name is Kayla Lee de Villiers. I would definitely say that I'm a city girl. If I didn't have a lot of the comforts that I had today, I think I would probably feel a bit lost. I definitely enjoy the comforts of the city life.
My name is Connor Bartlett and I'm 21 years old. I don't think I am well equipped to face these tasks, but that's just like the pioneers. They were settling in uncharted territories. They were facing things that they'd never seen before, so I think just like them, I'd have to do what's needed.
My name is Lauren and I'm 19 years old. I can't say I'm looking forward to the physical labour that we're going to have to do in this heat, but I'm excited to learn and I'm excited to see what the pelling industry is all about. I think the ocean definitely holds a lot of scary predators, sharks, crocodiles up here, who knows what else.
Come on guys, let's get these sails up. Here we go, let's get it up there. This is the sort of work that they had to do before they even started. The real work when we get out there.
It was really hard work. I'm definitely not strong enough to do it by myself, but luckily I had Jamie with me to help me do that.
We've got to get out into the water where the pearls are. Keep it going, keep that horizontal.
Throwing you back into it. I'm trying to throw myself back, but it's just not moving. I reckon we go 1 and 2 on the twos. We go.
That's it, Lauren, you got it. Put your body weight into it again. Come on, we've got to catch this wind.
At some points I was like, oh my gosh, hands are killing me, but I had to keep going. Don't really have a choice. Oh no!
I enjoyed, seeing how we went from nothing to full flight. It was good to set sail.
Now, we've got to get down into the water. How do we get down there, you guys?
We've got to dive.
We've got to dive, exactly. No diving suits. The material they had back in the 1880s was iron, steel, bronze, canvas, big, heavy things. So what we've got now is one of the original diving suits. So, any takers?
I know from experience that diving for the first time on its own is it's scary, it's different, it's something new. And that was with all the modern technology that we have and nice wetsuits and a little snorkel mask. I think in a helmet like that, it would be awful.
And take it very slowly, and does it fit on? And hold her shoulders, so the weight of it on her shoulders. Talk to us about what it's like in there.
It's very claustrophobic. It's dark.
Now, they were doing this all day. Back, up, down, more, up and down, back into the water, back up again. And the only thing that allows you to breathe is at the back here, there's a tube, and that's connected to a thin pipe which goes all the way up.
That was a really confronting experience to put the helmet on. The guys who put it on didn't actually let the weight fully down on my shoulders, and it was still pretty heavy. Just imagining what that would be like underwater is really scary to think about.
Ready to sleep, guys? You've earned it. This is luxury compared to how it was back in 1887. Let me tell you, a few rats crawling around and who knows what. Good night, guys. Wait till tomorrow. We've got lots more happening. There are pearls out there to be found. Pearls of wisdom. So look at this, guys. This is an oyster shell, the largest oyster shells in the world. Pinctata maxima, here from Broome, out here in the oceans. Now imagine if that's the oyster shell, the pearl are the biggest in the world. This is what they were coming for. Not only for the pearls, because they were actually incredibly rare. It was this, the mother of pearl, the lining of the shell itself that was so valuable. This is what they were farming, harvesting, looking for, diving for. They'd get them off the boats, the divers would bring them onto the boats, and then here they are, stacked on the beaches, and somebody has to drag them up into the factories and the sheds. Come on, let's get dragging. These guys, these laborers would do it day in, day out for literally their entire lives. Come on, Connor, keep them going.
Definitely took all my energy out, couldn't feel my legs.
Every one of these is precious, And every one of these could help make this pearling industry the greatest in the world.
I could just feel like my lower back just aching.
Really go for it. Come on, Lauren, you can do it. Nearly there. Go, 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 go. The sun's nearly down. Come on, Lauren, you can do it. And it's only another 100 yards.
I am done. I am done. That's enough. That's enough.
I was like getting blisters on my hands, and I was just like trying to drag it, and Rowan was shouting at me, and I was like, please be quiet. I'm trying to drag these shells, you're not helping. And then I got sad because I couldn't do it.
It's okay, you've done brilliantly. You okay?
Lauren is having a hard time as we're walking up the beach, and fair enough, it's back-breaking work. We are only needing to do this for 1 or 2 laps. Those pioneers would do this months on end, years on end, just to make a living.
Come on in. Right, there you go. Remember, back in the day, only about 1 in 10,000 oyster shells contained a pearl. That's an awful lot of pearl farming you had to do. And when you got them, they looked like this. T.B. Ellis was very smart. He figured out, well, I could take my chances out there in the ocean looking for that 1 in 10,000 pearl, or I could work on these and turn them into these beautiful, magnificent pearls. See the difference? So TB invented a set of instruments. These ones in front of you are TB's actual instruments that he himself worked with. He would gradually peel away, but there are high risks because if you chisel too far, you might ruin that pearl. It might crumble to dust and you are left with nothing. So let's get going. Have a look at your pearls, examine them. And the good news is, whoever makes the most beautiful pearl gets to keep it.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go. This is what TB did. From the poor kid who landed here from Ceylon into the wealthiest man in Broome at the time.
I'm a pretty competitive person, but quality always comes before speed.
Oof. Jamie's on a roll, mate. So none of them have crumbled to dust yet.
I'm getting pretty nervous just having Rowan watching me chip away at this pearl. I couldn't imagine what TB would have felt like chipping away at this pearl with the customer in front of you.
Poor character called J.W. Tilley was another who brought a pearl, beautiful pearl. TB looked at him and he said, you could end up with everything or you could end up with nothing. TB worked away, taking off layer, then another layer, but each layer revealed more blemishes until that pearl crumbled to dust.
It's really a high-stakes poker game. You could be walking away with everything in hand or nothing at all.
Lauren, let's see your pearl. Looking fantastic. I think we have a winner here. Sorry, it is Lauren. She's the winner, and that pearl, Lauren,
I'm so
it's
excited.
yours to keep. It's yours
So
to keep.
obviously I won the pearl skinning exercise. Like, I don't know if you saw the other guy's pearls.
I think I had a dodgy pearl. Jamie's chipping method, I'm not too sure. It was a bit harsh.
Jamie's going for it. Ooh, it's like chopping garlic. Broome was the final resting place for many of the brave souls who worked the treacherous pearling grounds here 150 years ago. This is a dedicated Japanese cemetery, and it's filled, as you can see, with all the headstones of over 2,000 pearlers, many who died from decompression sickness. Under the water, tragedy was never more than a breath away.
I felt a big sense of loss for the Broome community, about the countless lives that were lost and how they haven't been properly acknowledged in today's history.
And here we have the final resting place of Thomas Bastian Ellis, T.B. Ellis. He landed here in 1887, a 16-year-old boy, escaping from his prearranged marriage in Ceylon, and he built an industry. When he died, he was one of the most popular men in Broome. Dignitaries came from all around. But it wasn't all plain sailing for TB. He had more than his fair share of tragedy as well. His wife died early. His two daughters, Bessie and Eliza, they died age 7 and age 12. Imagine that. Yes, there was tragedy, but there was also resilience.
It was strange to see that this was the man who kind of started everything, and if you didn't know about him or where he was buried, you wouldn't know if you walked right past.
So guys, we've seen the dangers out there when they were lugging for pearls, but often it was the dangers above the water, particularly cyclones. This part of the world, when the cyclones whip up, the boats would have to duck for cover, run for cover, and get out of the way. This is Roebuck Bay, the original place where the luggers pull in to escape the northwesterlies. And that's what you guys are gonna do right now. Get out there, haul that dinghy in, because there's a 9-meter tide on the way, and we're not mucking around. Go.
Come on, guys. Let's get out there.
Oh no! Oh, gee.
2 steps in and our shoes were off, gone under the mud. We'll never see them again.
Come on, hurry up, let's move it. Come on, the tide's coming in.
You heard Rowan, we need to move it. Jamie, what are you doing?
Each step I'm sinking down to my knees and I'm really, really feeling exhausted.
Keep going, guys, the tide is rising. We're running out of time.
Oh, they lost your hats, come on guys.
I turn to my left and my Akubra goes flying off, my beautiful fresh Akubra.
Maybe, you know, he'll do a runner, maybe he'll go grab them, but there was no movement.
Forget it. I'm not taking a detour.
Couldn't let the Akubra die out in the wasteland like that. So I ran out, grabbed the hats, and just kept pushing on.
This is it. It's now or never.
Come on,
Come
guys.
on, keep going. Guys, the tide is rising. We're running out of time. Oh, we need to speed it up a little bit. Can you guys go into a bit
I
more?
don't know what Connor was trying to do. I'm unsure of his intentions. Like, at first I thought he was trying to encourage, and I was like, what are you doing?
All right, you guys have got this. Come on.
This isn't a picnic, get the boat up the beach, now, quickly.
Rowan was being really annoying because considering he wasn't putting in any effort to get the boat up to the sand, I don't think he could have any say.
Hurry, come on, get the boat off the beach.
He was stressing me out. Yeah, it was definitely motivating.
Quick. Okay, well done, you're on the sand, well done. You did a great job there. How are you feeling?
Exhausted.
So guys, well done on dragging that dinghy up. It was a battle against nature every single day just to survive. And that is what made this country what it is. The blood, sweat and tears of people like you four, who actually put their back and their soul and every living breath into surviving, determined to follow their dream. So we've seen the luggers that they had 150 years ago, 100 years ago, but now look at what we've got, these magnificent fleets of vessels out of those same purling waters of Broome. Now a massive multi-million-dollar industry employing hundreds, thousands of people with the most sustainable pearling industry in the world. What do you reckon, Kayla?
It's really, really interesting to see all the kind of thought and steps and processes that go into this industry and getting the pearls out. Yeah, there's a big gap between what we do now and what the pioneers used to do. We've got so much technology and help today that makes it a lot easier, and it just shows how hard they really did have it back then when they didn't have the technology that we have today.
Could they ever have dreamt that it would all end up being an industry like this?
Yeah, I think it's turned into such an amazing industry, and it's so interesting just to see all the different jobs that go into making it, and it's really cool. It's jobs I didn't even know existed.
You know, having come from the city whereby I just looked at pearls and windows, didn't give them a second thought, but now that I have learnt about the rugged processes and the true grit that it takes, I'll never think about it the same way.
the precision and the technology and the knowledge that's grown from families here in Broome, passed down father to son, generation, mother to daughter, the knowledge that goes into this industry now, which has made it one of the great industries of the world, and it began right here. It's extraordinary. Okay, young pioneers, here we are. What a treat. We are here with the great-great-grandson of Thomas Bastian Ellis, Argy Ellis. And we're going to have a curry from Ceylon, the sort of curry he would have had. What a treat.
Broome was a melting pot of cultures. I mean, it was 90% Asian, the population in the early 1900s. So TB would have had a typical meal such as this. Let me get you some of this beautiful fresh fish.
Go for it, guys. Dig in. This is so good.
Oh, sorry.
Bit spicy for you, Connor. Bit spicy.
It's got that Ceylonese kick to it.
Yeah.
It's quite spicy. My mouth was on fire. It was yummy. I wanted to eat it, but I just was like dying.
So we've been out, Archie, experiencing many of the hardships of what your great-great-grandfather T.B. Ellis went through.
A lot of the pioneers in the day had an adventurous spirit, but in pearling, they risked everything. You know, they weren't afraid of losing their lives in the search of a better life.
It seems like real hard conditions we've kind of experienced.
A few, yeah. Well, that's just one day, Jamie.
We were so fortunate to meet Argy, listening to him reflect on his own experiences as well as, you know, a bit finer details about TB's life. It was like taking the words out of a good history book and putting it right in front of you.
God, this honestly looks like my worst nightmare. I couldn't imagine getting all of those shells up the beach. I don't think I could do it.
Looked like TB did more than just pearling. It looked like he built a community.
Yeah, definitely. Look, TB certainly contributed to Broome's economy. He employed hundreds of workers, and we owe a lot of gratitude to all of those early pearlers. And it's all because of their hard work that started the industry off almost 150 years ago.
It really makes me see that how pearls are really special.
So Argy, it's been fantastic for us and for our young pioneers to have such an amazing insights from you and your family history.
Thanks, Rowan. Look, it's also important from the industry's perspective that young people really have an understanding of what Australian history was like and these pioneers, what they went through in the pearling industry. Well done, guys, for doing your best and getting out there and experiencing the life of a pearler. So you can pass that on. So these important messages aren't lost. It's part of Australian history.
It's been a really enlightening process. This week away in a bit more of an isolated town, it's kind of shown me that there's so many different places to see and stories to learn and things to learn about our national identity which I had no idea about. People don't realise how vast Australia is.
This part of the Kimberley's beautiful. It's been really cool being able to see so many different beaches, so many different places, on the water, on the land. It's been really amazing. I think I definitely have a way greater appreciation for the value of the pearl now that I've seen all the work that goes into actually getting the pearl and then processing it, all the things that it goes through to actually become a nice piece of jewellery. I think it's incredible and I can see why they're so valuable.
I definitely want to go back and tell my friends about everything I've learned here. Australian pioneers are people that have characteristics of integrity, true grit. They are the people that built this nation that we are living in today.
For me, I never really learned about this in school at all. I did not know anything about this side of Western Australia, and I'm surprised by that because we see pearls every day in the shops and oysters, we have at restaurants and all that, so not having to know that is really surprising to me. For us to be able to live a better life now, we have to learn from them, so we have to be educated about what they did.
It's a huge disservice for young people to not learn about the early pioneers, the hard work, sweat and tears and lives that were put at risk, and the lessons that we can take now and be proud of.
Hi dear Margot, it's lovely to see you again, and thank you very much for welcoming us. And Margot, her family has been in pearling and jewellery for 5 generations. After the Depression, there were so many of these pearling ships, tiny little things, that were taking these very brave gentlemen usually out to find the pearls.
There's nowhere else in the world that has the history of pearling that we do. I mean, it was a very, very difficult life for the divers in those suits. They were totally dependent on their pearling buddy on board the ship. And if they pulled on that cord, they needed to know that somebody was responsive and was going to let them up. And of course, there were all sorts of dangers. Crocodiles and sharks and the bends. It was a completely different scenario to be diving then as now, and I think that the young pioneers will have learned all about that and will have a great appreciation for what actually happened.
I think so too. I think it was a bit of an eye-opener because these are the sorts of things we don't learn about: the bravery, the determination of our pioneers, the courage these gentlemen would have had to have had.
So the really valuable thing that they were looking for was the natural pearl, and then the mother of pearl was used for decorative items and buttons and inlay, hair combs. So it was a completely different industry from the industry that it is now.
I've been told that Australian pearls are the best in the world. Is that correct?
That is absolutely true. Australian pearls are the finest pearls in the world. The water around the northwestern coast of Australia is so pristine, and the oysters grow so well. A very old pearl farmer once said to me when I was in my 20s, Margot, there are 3 important things about pearls: lustre, lustre and lustre. You have a big, beautiful pearl. If the lustre is beautiful, then it is truly a beautiful pearl.
You know, maybe we could have a look at some of your beautiful pearls.
I think we could, yes. Andrew, you might bring the beautiful tray of pearls that we have. Plus, of course, we are wearing beautiful pearls as well.
Very delighted to be wearing some of your pearls.
Yes.
And oh my.
Some strands of pearls take many harvests to put together. So it's completely up to Mother Nature what she's going to reveal at the time of harvest. These are interesting pearls because these are natural pearls. So just occasionally when the pearl farmer opens the oyster to harvest the pearl that he knows is there, there'll be one of these naturally occurring pearls as well. And they are really miracles of nature. They always have a particular shape and lustre and colour. They have a very organic shape, but they are pearl the whole way through. I think pearls are like us. Every one of us is different and has a different character, and it's very much like that with pearls.
You know, the pearls and the start of the pearling industry, it's now a great pride for Australia.
Yes.
You know, they went through such hardships, but we have the best pearls in the world. So I think that's pretty special.
It's very special.
Yeah.